Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah,
Also,
yeah. We were
yeah.
18 years old when
Yeah.
we met.
I want to mention when we started, I was so afraid of coming out because I was trying to prove my entire childhood, all the way until I met Jake, I was trying to prove my family that I was straight. And I had a hard time with that. And when I met Jacob in that set, I never thought I was gonna like fall in love. I never believed in loving another man. It was more like pleasure, right? And when he even cast me, when he called me and I was so excited, but then I was like, wait, do we have to kiss? And he was like, yes. And I was like, oh my God, how can I explain this to my family? They're very conservative. I don't know, like, how am I gonna? And I was like, can we cheat it or not? But inside of me wanted to kiss him. It's just, I didn't want this to show in a movie.
Welcome to Normalizing Non-Monogamy, the podcast where we interview incredible people from all over the world to hear their personal journeys of self-discovery through the lenses of love, sex, and relationships.
Our mission is to show people that they're not alone and to inspire them to embrace their true selves so that together we can open minds and live authentically without shame.
We believe everyone's story is powerful and beautiful, yet it's important to remember that everyone does life a little bit differently and that the views and opinions expressed by our guests do not necessarily reflect our own.
Additionally, we aren't doctors. Please consult a medical professional for anything regarding your health that you might learn about on the show. Enjoy!
Welcome to episode 420. We're Finn and Emma, and today we have a wonderful conversation with Jacob and Josh. They're both from Puerto Rico and met about 17 years ago while working together on a film and started dating. Sort of.
Yeah, as you'll hear today, Jacob and Josh have spent a lot of their relationship exploring what they kind of refer to as the gray zones. Their relationship started a bit ambiguously, and their explorations with others often fell in the blurry area between hookups, friends, boyfriends. It's gray.
Yes, it is. You can definitely feel the love between these two throughout the conversation, and we love how vulnerably they talk about the reality and messiness of figuring out love and life. They've each learned so much about themselves and one another along the way, and as you'll hear, they're still constantly learning, figuring it out, just like the rest of us.
Yeah, Jacob and Josh are also working on a new film project called The Three of Swords, which you hear them talk a little bit more about during the interview. And we have a quick update that filming in Puerto Rico is planned for spring of 2026. So they talk about that at the interview, but we wanted to confirm it's happening.
Yay!
And you can find more information about Jacob, Josh, and the rest of the cast and their film by following the links in the show notes. And you can find more information about anything that Jacob and Josh mentioned in today's episode in the show notes as well, along with photos of them and the other cast members. So check that out. Check out the film. And hopefully next year we'll have an update for you where you can go and watch it.
Yes. And with that, for anyone who's a premium subscriber, we're going to jump right into the interview with Jacob and Josh. And for anyone else, we're going to go through a few announcements. First up, if you're not familiar with the premium subscription, it's a way to skip these announcements up front, but don't worry, we still share important dates of upcoming events in the outro. We will also be adding a new bonus segment to our premium subscription starting in January.
If you want a little bit more about that, go back to last week's episode and listen with Nicole. We talk about it at the beginning, and then you get to hear a sneak peek of the bonus segment in the outro. You'll be hearing a few more of those the next few weeks as we lead up to 2026. But then coming in 2026, full on premium subscriptions got new content.
Bonus segment.
Bonus.
To sign up for the premium subscription, go over to our website, normalizingnonmonogamy.com. Scroll down on the homepage and you can sign up right there for only $4 a month.
Next up, we wanted to tell you all a little bit about our community. Emma and I lead a community full of over 300 people who socialize and support one another every single day. We host our community on a platform called Mighty Networks. We've been doing this for about, 6 years now?
Yes.
Yeah, it's been going on a while. So it's fantastic. We absolutely love it, and we would love to have you come join us. We host monthly community Zoom calls. We host monthly virtual workshops, and we also have in-person events as well, all for less than $8 a month. And if you were thinking about that premium subscription and you're like, wow, I want that bonus content and the community, well, good news. If you're a member of our community, you get access to the premium subscription for free.
Yes.
They are not the same, so don't be confused. Don't sign up for the premium subscription thinking you're getting the community, but you can sign up for the community and get yourself the premium subscription. To sign up for the community, head over to our website, normalizingnonmonogamy.com, click on the community tab, and you'll find out all of the information of how to sign up there, and we would love to have you join us.
We also wanted to shout out that our next monthly community workshop is January 15th. Mark your calendars. Come join us for that. It's going to be with Marsha Basinski on why you don't know what you want and how to find out.
What? Who doesn't know what they don't want?
I know, right? Again, all of these workshops are free for our community members. And if you happen to miss the live workshop, don't worry, you can still watch the recording within the community.
Next up, we've got an incredibly exciting event coming up next May 1st to the 3rd. It is our next in-person retreat. And historically, our retreats have been for our community that we just talked about. But this retreat is actually open to the public, and we're super excited about it. We're partnering with the crew from Multi-Amory and one of our friends, Gary Ware, who's a strategic play consultant, to bring you all an incredible weekend of fun and games, play, connection, and all of the things. Will be just outside Orlando, Florida, May 1st to the 3rd, 2026. And we'd absolutely love to have you come join us.
Yes, tickets are on sale now, and you can find out more and buy your tickets over on our website, normalizingnonmonogamy.com. Click on the events tab. All of the information is right there. We would love to have you join us. And a quick reminder, this is open to the public. Next up, we wanted to remind all of you and let you know about our next virtual speedfriending event. That'll be January 22nd. It's a Thursday. Mark your calendars. We just had a virtual speedfriending last Friday. It was fantastic. We had so much fun, and we can't wait to be bringing these back monthly in 2026. So again, mark your calendars, January 22nd, and you can actually sign up right now as well. Over on our website, there's a banner at the top of the page or under the events tab too.
And the last thing we want to tell you all about is our favorite way to get tested for STIs. That is stdcheck.com. Emma and I have been using this service for years, and we absolutely love it, or we wouldn't be telling you about it. And based on the number of you who are using it, you seem to absolutely love it as well. So if you would like to save $10 on your next 10-panel test, head over to our website, normalizingnonmonogamy.com, click on the resources tab, and use the links there, which will save you $10, bringing the cost of a 10-panel test down to only $129. And you help support the show financially. So thank you so much for doing that. STDcheck.com is fast, it's simple, it's affordable, and it is super discreet. And again, it's our favorite way to get tested, and we'd love to have you check it out.
And finally, a reminder to reach out to us. Send us an email over on the Contact Us page of our website. We would love to hear from you if you have any feedback for us or questions, or best of all, if you'd like to be a guest on the show. We would love to have you reach out to us. You just need to let us know you want to share your story, and we will schedule a time
That's
to
how
do
Jacob
so.
and Josh got here.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So we'd love to have you reach out to us. And with that, let's go and talk with Jacob and Josh.
Well, welcome to the podcast, Josh and Jacob. We're excited to chat today. We're excited to get to know you both. You've got some amazing work you're putting out into the world, a film. But before we get there, we get to hear all about you two and your story and your relationship and relationships. So thank you for being here today.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you so much for reaching out to us and wanting to come share as well. We'd love that, when we get emails and are like, yes, more people that want to share their story.
Yeah, note to the listeners, our favorite emails are the ones that say, we want to come on the podcast. So thank you for reaching out.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it was part of when I was working on the film, I was looking for community, and I was looking for people who were actively talking about polyamory and all this stuff so that I could learn and just share the stuff that I was working on. So yeah, you guys popped up on my feed and I was so excited about it.
Awesome.
Yeah, love it. Well, we're going to dig in, and maybe we'd start by just having you both introduce yourselves at whatever level is comfortable for you two.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Jacob. I am a Puerto Rican actor, director, blah, 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 all the other stuff that I had to learn to do pretty much just to start putting work out there.
Yeah.
Currently, I live in Los Angeles, carrying out the career and doing the work. So yeah, you, Josh.
Yeah. So my name is Joshua. You can call me Josh. I'm from Puerto Rico too. I met Jacob 17 years ago. Since then, it's been like an adventure. Yes. I'm an actor. I opened a business, an e-commerce. It's still new. Hustlers.
Yeah, I
can
think
call us.
that's a good name for us, the hustlers. Where
Yeah.
whatever shows up, we're like, let's do that.
Even
Yeah.
Uber drivers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So relatable. Yeah,
Yeah.
we, in doing this type of work too, we're like, if something comes along and somebody's like, "Hey, I'll pay you to do this thing," I'm like, "Well, probably sign me up,"
Yeah,
or
exactly.
here's a venture to
Most
go down.
likely.
We'll give it a whirl. So I love it.
Yeah.
That's
So
us too.
we'd love for you to, we want to definitely go back in time, but can you take a moment and just kind of describe what your relationship structure is today?
Yeah, so I guess we're still working on that. We're relatively new-ish to the polyamory world. I consider myself polyamorous. Josh, the moment he considered himself
Monogamish?
monogamish.
Mhm.
So we are in the process of figuring out like what works best for us, what works best for the relationship. And since we're still learning with all this like new terminology, and it's basically a whole new world that we were practicing before, which I imagine that we'll get into. But now that we have all these terms and we have all these labels, for lack of a better word, we're trying to figure out what is the best thing for us.
Yes.
Yeah. Great. I'm excited to learn more. So
Well, and I love that you say that it was like we were practicing this, but without the labels or without the terminology, and that's something that we found to be like more common than maybe we ever thought. And I'm curious,
Yeah.
what did that look like, or when did you two start exploring or practicing this, whatever this is / was?
Since day one.
Since day one.
All right.
okay, so let's say you
Yeah.
mentioned in a little bit ago that you met 17 years ago.
Yes.
Okay, take us back there.
Yeah.
So essentially we met on a project that I wrote and was producing and directing and all that other stuff. So I casted him and we started together that way. But then as we were getting to know each other and just kind of like do what needed to be done,
Mhm.
we started playing around with other people. And it was one of those who we were connected to that he started playing with him without me knowing. So I guess it could have been one of those situations of like you can call it cheating, but we're not together at that point, so it doesn't really matter. But
We were in a grayish
we were in a
area. We
grayish
didn't know if we were
area.
together or
Yeah.
not.
Because I guess you also put into account that we're both gay in Puerto Rico, so it's we're both in the closet. We're still figuring out so many things at once.
Yeah.
So I guess it's just a delicate position to be in.
You're
But-
also fairly young at this point.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. We were
yeah.
18 years old when
Yeah.
we met.
I want to mention when we started, I was so afraid of coming out because I was trying to prove my entire childhood, all the way until I met Jake, I was trying to prove my family that I was straight. And I had a hard time with that. And when I met Jacob in that set, I never thought I was gonna like fall in love. I never believed in loving another man. It was more like pleasure, right? And when he even cast me, when he called me and I was so excited, but then I was like, wait, do we have to kiss? And he was like, yes. And I was like, oh my God, how can I explain this to my family? They're very conservative. I don't know, like, how am I going to? And I was like, can we cheat it or not? But inside of me wanted to kiss him. It's just, I didn't want this to show in a movie.
Yeah, that internal conflict of like, no, I want to do this, but society and culture
Mhm.
and family
Yes.
has pushed it into you like this is not okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, like after all that was done, we kept together and going out. And then one of our friends he started to play with. Then I instantly like those instances, as far as I can remember, never actually bothered me. It was more so the fact that it was like I wasn't told or I wasn't aware of it. More the issue than the actual act itself. And then I always try to be like, oh, okay, cool. So you did this, then let's bring him in. And then I did stuff with him, and then it became this whole thing. And I remember once because I really wanted to be with him. With this
Other person.
with this other person. I admit now that it was a little bad on my end, but we had this conversation, or Josh mentioned that we should all of us be boyfriends together. And I went with that. I was like, oh yeah, let's just, let's do this.
All three of you.
Yeah. So even back then, without really knowing that this was even a thing,
It was in our head.
it was already in our heads, right? And I found myself being able to care for more than one person for sure, because I did care about that guy, and we're still friends to this day. But I guess it's one of those things where society had me pick and choose, right? Who did I want it to be with, and if I wanted to be with him, I couldn't really be with the other guy or see where that chemistry was going to lead to.
Yeah.
So, things happened, and then I ended up just staying with him and keeping friends with the other guy.
You break
Um,
his heart.
I probably did. I probably did. So yeah, I mean, but we've spoken about it before, and like we apologized, and again, we were young.
I mean,
It's one
think
of those.
about what's like you're in Puerto Rico with
Mhm.
like you're figuring out your own like you're 18, you're figuring out life.
Yeah,
and
much.
you're up against culture and society and family pressures of sexuality, relationship, and up against all of that.
And you're in the closet. It sounds like
And
you
you're
were
in the closet.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
trying to figure out relationship structures on top of that. Like that's a
Mhm.
lot.
Yes.
Yeah, and I feel like if like if I knew now what I knew then, I probably would have handled things so much better. Because instinctively, of like really really deep inside, I knew that that was okay, or I never really had an issue with that. So, it took years and years and years for us to get to that middle point. But I guess it's one of those things where we just passed it along as like, oh no, we're just playing around with other people and bringing them in, and then that's it. But we will always try to find some sort of connection with them. We never really liked this sort of like hookup culture that there is.
Mhm.
I guess, what they call it. And we always try to like either go on a date with the guy. We always try to like have dinner at home if we invited them. We always try to do a little bit extra than what you would do normally. And more often than not, we would stay friends with the person because we really hit it off, and
Yeah.
it just felt natural. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But not having this sort of information in my head, I probably, if I had what I know now, again, what I know now, I probably would have done other stuff, or I probably would have accepted myself a lot faster than what I did now. I would have had a good amount of time to like do some research and really inform myself to do things ethically.
Yeah. Something that I want to bring. It's when we started with this guy, which he was my friend, and then I introduced Jacob.
This is the first person.
Yes, I realized that since the beginning until not so long ago, I used to be the person that always I've been a little bit conservative, but always challenging myself and no filter. If I think something, I said it. And that's one of the things happened that day when we're together. I felt so comfortable and so like free that I said, hey, why we don't be boyfriends, right? But I wasn't sure what I was saying. And I think I said it without thinking. And I remember when we were hanging out within our groups and we were like kind of like trying to hide what we were feeling and what we were doing with our friends, our cisgender friends. And one day Jacob was walking to me and he said, hey, are we doing it? Are we gonna be boyfriends? Because this guy and we're boyfriend already. And I was like, oh, you guys are boyfriend. And I took that so deep that I got so mad. And since that day until I figured out what I was feeling for Jacob, I was treating him so bad. It was this anger which I wasn't sure where it was coming from, but it was more from insecurities and also the way I was raised. Really like this mindset of being only with one person and
The macho thing too.
yeah, and and it was really interesting because it's always been like that until not so long ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's something too around just like even the language, right? The terminology, right? We don't get taught that you could have something that isn't necessarily a boyfriend or a deep partnership, but could still be connective and friendship, and you can care, right? It's like we get fed this sort of narrative that like, well, if you're maybe hooking up with somebody and you care about them, those are the two elements of a relationship. So now you're in a relationship instead of like, well,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
maybe we're really attracted to each other. We really care about each other, but we're not, partnered or boyfriend, girlfriend, or boyfriend, boyfriend, or
Mhm.
whatever configuration. Like it could, like we don't sort of get, there's not a lot of messaging that says you could be something in between.
Mhm.
Yes.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think and that's something that I've been thinking about lately as I've continued to like ask myself all these questions to figure out where I stand with all of this. It's like how much of this has really affected our, I don't want to say point of view, but how we look at things, right? Like exactly what you're saying. Oftentimes I find myself like, oh, I'm connecting with all these people, but when I think about calling them partners or calling them boyfriends, it just feels a little tough because I recognize that at this point, I don't have the time frame to be able to have that solid foundation or to treat them in that way. You know what I'm saying? I just don't have the time. So I would much rather have good connection and that middle ground where I can still care about someone without having all that something that solidifies, if that
Mhm.
makes sense.
But at the same time, you're open to more, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, if I do have the time and I'm open to something more serious, obviously. But it's also recognizing a big part of the polyamory that I've learned is it's recognizing if you have the time bandwidth to have multiple relationships because you have to. It's a relationship. You have to tend to it
Mhm.
as well, you know.
Yeah.
And the way that my life is going right now, I'm doing way too many things. I'm like, if I add another partner, that's just gonna be a lot. My head might explode.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love that you bring this up because
There's
it's
definitely something to that.
there is, and
Mm,
I think I think so much of what happens with us is we get caught in the label or we get caught in the what society expects or what we've seen. And right, if we say, well,
The myth of like you can't be polyamorous unless you have
you,
10 partners or whatever. Like you have to have more than one partner to be considered
yeah,
polyamorous.
yeah, yeah.
yeah, or that once you maybe like, hey, we had a great lunch and then maybe we hooked up or we had sex or maybe we just cuddled, but then it's like it has to keep building
Mm,
versus, coming together and being like, hey, here's who I am and here's my life. And these are all the things I can do with you and make time for with you right now. And these are the ways I can show up. Do those work for you? And are you like, do those work for you? How are you going to be able to show up? And does that work for me? Because I think it can be easy to get caught in the like, well, we just have to do more, 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 more versus no, our whole relationship is we get together once a month and watch a movie. That's it.
mhm,
Right. That
Yeah.
could be okay if both people are all in
mhm.
on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah. I think, yeah. Coming back to what we're talking about, I do think that we've been, uh, or that I consider myself polyamorous for a
Mhm.
while because we had multiple incidents where we would find ourselves in the sort of cheating world, and I never had like an issue. You know what I mean? Because he had some moments by himself with somebody, and there was a time where I was like not super sexually active and stuff like that, and I allowed him, or not allowed, but I told him like you can do stuff with other people to satisfy that while I figure my stuff out because I know that's a need, for certain people. And even though it did struck a chord, because obviously there's a lot of insecurity that has been taught to us from since we're kids, right? This sort of mentality, the
Or like,
scarcity mentality,
Mhm.
where if he's doing something to somebody else or spending time or energy with somebody else, it means less for me. And I don't know. I don't think that's necessarily true. At least with the time that I've
yeah,
been putting my head into it, you know what I mean? If it's all about balance, and that's where the time, recognizing how your time bandwidth is, uh, so that you don't grab one ball to drop the other one, right? You got to be able to
Mhm.
balance all these balls together. No puns intended.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like it's one of these things where like as soon as I like recognized that, it sort of clicked for me because started to look back and I'm like, yeah, makes absolutely perfect sense that
Mhm.
I've been this
Yeah.
way forever.
Yeah.
And I wanna say something that I've been always a person that I'm very free. I've never hide myself just to be with him or with someone else. I'm always like true to myself. And it's so interesting because I used to be really selfish in the sense that, oh, I want to satisfy, a part of me sexual. And I always talk to him. But even though we get into an agreement, I used to break those agreements and caught up myself in that, you know, cheating situation. And I always, even though I did it, I come to him. I say, "Oh my god, this happened. I couldn't resist." I was always like open. But when it was time for him to do it, I get so jealous, and it was like, "No, I don't want that to happen. I don't want that. Like, no, you're mine." Like, and I start saying things like that. And now that I'm a little bit more evolved, right? I'm like, "Oh my god, that was a little bit of toxic of me and selfish of, oh my god, I can do whatever I want, but why, like." And then it was haunting me for years that I was like feeling that guilt and I was projecting on him, "Oh, you're cheating on me." Like that for a while. Of course, now it's not like that, but yes, yeah, I think it was part of our process of understanding each other and,
Mhm.
accept, like when you're wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
hard to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
and it's learning
Yeah.
too. And you two met when you were 18, young, and
Yeah.
grew up together in many
Mhm.
ways. And uh you're learning along the way and
Yeah.
figuring things out and realizing, "Oh, what I did there was not exactly cool. Let's talk about that and maybe we can make sure that doesn't happen again."
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm curious. So you had this experience with this first person, and the three of you tried to be together a little bit, didn't work, then moved on, and then since then, sounds like for a while, it was one of you would hook up with somebody else at different times. Some of it would be all together, some of it would not be. It just kind of
All over the
fluid,
place.
all over the
Yeah.
place.
No.
Uh,
Yeah. And even me, the first 2 years I was with you, I was having a relationship, like a really formal relationship with a girl,
Yes.
and you handle it. And that's kind of like,
Well, I mean,
so
there's
it's technically I had two partners, right?
oh
So,
yeah. I didn't really think about it that way. Yeah, that's true. You had two partners. We were probably didn't know.
for 2 years,
Yeah.
yeah.
and yes, I was the here. I was the one that always was kind of like the naughty and the. I was the person that always.
Wild child, I
Yeah, I was
guess.
the wild one, and like, yes, and he was always the opposite, and it's so interesting that now the switch, it kind of like switch. Now I'm more like, no, I'm still working on it, right? But then we're gonna get into that and why I feel like a little bit of, how do you call it? I hesitate.
Apprehensive.
Yeah,
Apprehensive.
Yeah.
yeah, about it. But yeah, I know I'm polyamorous. It's just the terminology hit me. I'm like, I don't know if I can, if it will be sustainable for me. However, I would love him to be true to himself. So right now, I'm working on myself to be able to understand him. And we've been to therapy, and I have read a couple books. And at this point, I really love that he's staying true to himself, and I encourage him. So because I'm the one that has to deal with it with myself because our insecurity with me, not him.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
So it sounds like, Josh, the thing you're working on is what you kind of talked about earlier, which was when when you're going out to do the thing, it's totally cool and you want that freedom. But when
Yeah.
Jacob's out, it's harder, and like the maybe the jealousy or the envy or the insecurity starts to kick in. Is that kind of what you're like the thing you're kind of stepped back working on at the moment?
Yes. Yes. Also, like, I think it's not. I think I worked that already. It's more of the terminology where I fit, because I think we have. I told him to put myself on test, because sometimes he's like, "Oh, I like this guy or whatever," and I'm like, "Why don't you have fun, right?" And he always hesitated, because I used to be like, "Oh, I will," like I was like the person that get mad, but he get he get now that I think you get it now that I'm okay, right? And we have this open communication that if he wants to, he can do it, right? As long as we talk about it. I think I'm working more into myself, into my own insecurities of where do I put myself, or
Mhm,
and also why is a problem for me to label polyamory, and why do I want to stay into monogamish,
mhm.
right? Because they're like really like kind of like
So
there's a drastic gap there, right? I feel like
The
when you
term
put the
monogamish and polyamory.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
because I, I don't know, like
it's like I think it's one of these things of like you have to ask yourselves and really question your belief system that has
Mhm,
been taught to you for so long,
yes,
because obviously we grow up in a society that tells you you have to get married and you have to get married with one person, right? And then if you love somebody else, that means you're a cheater or that's lust or whatever it is. And there's so many instances where we're taught that this is wrong, and that has been carried out through generations and generations and generations, that we might say, no, I don't believe that, but then inside of you things like that happened, right?
mhm,
So you really have to, I mean, that's at least that's what I've done most of the time when I experience like a new feeling. I'm like, why am I feeling this? Is this because of this, or this because, I've been taught to believe that this is the way that things should be? And I've seen so many people too, like on comments and videos and stuff like that, that when people are talking about polyamory or having multiple partners, people are just so blind. They cannot see past the fact that people are able to ethically love more than one person, right? And I think that's one of the things that at least the both of us have had for a really long time. It's that we're both great communicators. Like when one of us is having an issue or one of us is having to express a type of feeling, we come to them, and like when we talk to each other, like, hey, this is going on. Let's work this together. So like our repair, I
mhm.
guess, I would say it's pretty good, which is why we've lasted so long, because we're not just like getting pissy at each other and not really talking about it.
we never go to bed without talking.
Yeah.
I think we did it once, and it was me because I had my pride.
Yeah.
I didn't want to, and then at 4 in the morning I was like, "Can I sleep? Can we talk?"
Yeah. If some of those, like, if some of the listeners are like super astrological people, like he's Aries and I'm Scorpio, so that explains a lot on this end since he's a fireball. Um, but
I'm
yeah.
literally a fire.
Yeah. Well, I
Mhm.
I love what you were saying too, because some of this around labels, I feel like is we get caught in the labels, and maybe I hear a little bit of that, like on your side, Josh, is like if I call myself polyamorous, now I'm like supposed to do these things, and I feel like
Mm,
the two of you have been, it sounds like your whole relationship, and maybe even before that, trying to break out of the labels and the expectations, right? Like you said, I was trying to convince my family I was still straight for a long time. And
Yeah.
it's like we get put in these boxes, and then we feel like, okay, well, I'm in the polyamorous box, so I have to do these polyamorous things, or I'm just in the monogamish box. I can do like I can do different things. And I think it's like figuring out ways that we can, like, the labels are great, but that they don't define us, that they aren't the
Yes,
mhm,
I agree.
limiting factor to what we can and can't do. That
mhm.
Yeah.
you're Josh and you're Jacob and I'm Finn and this is Emma, and we just are. And like, do some of these labels describe us? Yeah, but they don't dictate what we can and can't do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, like, I feel like I don't know if people agree with me, but I feel like sexuality is something that it can change, right? The same
Mhm,
thing as maybe your label. Right now I'm polyamory, but what about if I want to be monogamy right now, right?
mhm,
What if I want to have a monogamous relationship, or so I feel like it's something that we shouldn't attach. If I'm polyamorous permanent, no, you can be polyamorous and then figure it out. Oh, actually, I'm not polyamorous, I'm maybe monogamous.
It can
Or
be fluid
yeah,
throughout your
I can be
life.
fluid. Yeah. I just want to have an open relationship, but I don't want to put the label, which
Yep.
like oh, I'm swinger, I don't know, like, right. I feel like it's something that with time you will figure it out, and then you will learn that you can one day you categorize yourself one, and yeah, so it's just me working into towards
Yeah.
what do I want now, right? Because I'm
Yeah.
still I'm still in love with another person, right? And I think that's the struggle of me being rejected after we experienced that relationship, because we had a relationship which we haven't talked, right? You can talk.
Well, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, before this like relationship, we had a possible relationship. He was this like beautiful Russian guy.
This
Um,
was like recently?
before
Before having an actually
it was a couple years ago.
Okay.
We're still
okay.
friends with him, yeah, but it was a couple years ago. But we met each other, and then we started to like going out and treating each other like partners. Like he would invite us to his house, we would have dinner, we would stay over. Like
cuddle, sleep.
it was it was a wonderful thing, and had issues obviously because a lot of these expectations of like we're the couple, he's not we're not partners with him, so there's only like all these
restrictions,
or these like couple benefits that
Mm.
he cannot be part of, right? Because we still hadn't like worked through these kinds of stuff. I always found them a little unfair for the other person, because it's like I get what you're saying, but it's not really fair to that person to, because we're not like we should be able to treat him like how we want to treat him, not because he's not a partner we can't treat him like he is. I don't know. So it didn't really work out because at the time he had a little bit of a fiery personality. We're all a little bit fiery, so we just like let's stay friends because you know we don't want to get there.
Well, we daydream a lot about having him as a partner, right?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So the idea was always there, and then we met this guy. He was
Not the Russian.
not the Russian, the
A
new
different
one.
guy.
Yeah,
Yes.
different guy.
He's the recent one.
He's the reason.
So we met him, and then we went on a trip to Puerto Rico because one of our friends was getting married. So we just kind of like all the group of friends that we had, like we traveled together, and he stayed with us, or like we kind of took charge of him, of like showing him around and all this other stuff, and we kind of clicked in that trip, like really really well, and we kind of sort of, at least me and him, like we fell hard because we're all like, if that has anything to do with it, we're water signs, so we're like super emotional. And he's a really sweet person.
He is.
Yeah, so we just clicked really really well, and then really started I feel like after all these incidents that happened, like the thing with the Russian, and then we had met somebody else, this is a conversation that has been going on for years, like the ability to be maybe have a third boyfriend or something, or just explore a little bit more outside from what we were doing, that just sort of blew up with this person. So I think this person came along, and we were like, can we actually do this? We've been talking about this for so long, like we both like him, we're all three of us are getting along great, the dynamic seems to be working between all three of us. I don't see why we couldn't be able to try it.
And we tried.
And then we tried it. We came back. We tried to figure it out. And all of us had wounds from past relationships or past situations that obviously, being in a relationship, it brings all that stuff out, right? So he came on like not feeling that he was worthy of being loved. He felt like relationships weren't for him. So he was pushing us away a little bit, and we were always trying to like get him to come back. Josh had his insecurities fired up.
So I put a wall.
So he put a wall, and then I found myself trying to like mediate, be like, hey, just talk to him. You know what I mean? Just trying to be in the middle of it.
Mhm.
Also, something that he mentioned a lot. He said that, oh, I would never will be able to have the type of relationship you guys have. So he was always comparing our relationship for 17 for that moment
I think it was
15 year,
15 at that time.
and for someone, for him that we just met him less than a year, and we were trying something. So his expectation was, oh, if we're gonna be together, we all supposed to have the same dynamic. But we were like, but we're gonna get there. It's not like something's gonna happen from today and tomorrow, right? The thing is, we are willing to work through it. But
Yeah.
it
But
was hitting on him a
it
lot.
was, yeah, it was a lot of things at once. I feel like it's one of those like very explosive, fiery loves that just like blow up, and it just gets out of control essentially, because you I don't know, it just felt like a love that we've been together for years. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? It was like that strong initially.
like we've met before. Like it
Yeah,
was something
and
that.
when we broke up, it was like I dropped like 10 pounds. It really did a number on me. So I feel like that relationship really came to like slap me in the face and tell me you have to finally accept what you are and what you're doing, and like come to terms with everything, right? And see what things I'm bringing to the table, because I feel like that's another very important thing in polyamory, is the fact that you have to take ownership for your own stuff so that you don't bring them into relationships, and or or you're better able to handle them during the relationship. So a lot of the things that when I started reading, because I started reading Polysecure and Ethical Slut, those are really like instrumental books for me, because it gave me a lot of language that I could use in my current relationship and in possible other relationships, right? How we really need to look at what our triggers are, how we're coming showing up in the relationship, and how we can navigate that, especially because if you're dealing with more than one person, gotta be clear about what your own triggers are. You gotta be clear about what are your boundaries. You gotta be clear about what are your non-negotiables, right? So I feel like being in this journey of learning more about polyamory actually made me a better, you can call it monogamous people. I feel like monogamous people should be polyamorous for a while so that they really get to
Yeah.
understand how a lot of the belief systems that we have, or a lot of the things that we strive for in polyamory, work great in monogamous relationships, being communicative and not really coming to the table assuming that this is the norm, right? Like a lot of people just give for granted the fact that you're coming into a relationship with somebody else, but they have their own standards, right? And that's where I feel like cheating maybe comes along. It's because what if they had these conversations beforehand? Like, hey, I'm like fully monogamous. If we're going to be in a committed relationship, this is what I'm looking for in a partner. And the other person could be like, yeah, well, like I'm happy being monogamous, but I would love for us to be able to explore these kinds of things, right? Because that's something that's innate to them, to have more connections. And they can come to terms, right? Or they can see if it works out or if it doesn't work out. I feel like these type of conversations that polyamorous people have, so that they're clear within each other and how they are working within their polycule,
Mhm.
is what I think is
Yeah.
what it's called. Yeah. Um, would be great if they had them, you know? The communication, expressing your needs, recognizing what are your own triggers so that you can take charge of them. Because I feel like in monogamy culture, jealousy is like
Oh,
this
yeah.
one thing that for some reason gets treated as this, oh, like my partner's jealous. You know what I mean? Like this positive thing, when in reality it's not, you know? I mean, it's a human thing, right?
Right.
We can't
Mhm.
really fight it, but it shouldn't be glamorized or be, I don't know. I just always have sort of the ick every time I see videos of like women saying, "Oh, he's just jealous," and they're like super happy. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Like
it
jealousy is a normal human emotion.
yeah.
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 I'm like, I mean, I get it. Like you can feel jealous, but you have to own up to that. And when you see the reaction of like trying to control the other person and limiting what they can or cannot do, or blaming them for things that are outside their control. You know what I mean? The fact that a lot of people are just like, no, you can't wear that clothes outside. Like, excuse you, don't tell me what to put on.
I want to mention that part. I think part of him falling hard with the other partner was because of my insecurities. I was making him choose. I was mm, putting him in a situation that I want to feel VIP, kind of like, oh, I'm the primary husband, so partner. So if I don't want you to spend time with him, you should do what I say. So it was one of those things because I had a lot of insecurities. And part of those insecurities were growing in the relationship, and it was more noticeable, right? Because I'm not a texting person. I'm more like to enjoy one-on-one. I'm more like I'm not. I love phones, but when I'm with a person, I don't like to use my phone. And even like when I'm at home and he's outside, I rather call than text. But he's the opposite, and the other partner, they love text each other. And in the group, when I realized there were texts, it was like 500. So I never read them. I just like, hey, like make comments, like funny comments. But the other partner was feeling that I was not pay attention, or he was not feeling the love because I was not showing up through text. But in person, I was very lovable, very like, but that affected him to the point that he started rejecting me. And then it was the opposite because I started feeling rejected because whenever I text, or he he took his time, or whenever we were in person, he was more clicking with Jacob, and I was like, I felt left out. So that's one of the reason I put a wall, or I was putting a wall because of my insecurities, and I was trying to make him choose. And because of that situation, everything got out of hand. So it was kind of like miscommunication because we never we never talk about our expectation, or just about what we want to do as a couple, the three of us, right? It was more we were letting it happen versus getting education or educated and
Yeah.
try to make it work.
We're just like, we didn't have the tools really to
Yeah.
be able to handle a type of relationship like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's when I was like, I have to learn more. I have to know how to do this the correct way, or at least, in a way that's ethical.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where all the books came in and all that stuff.
And talking about the book, it was funny because all these insecurities, they came out for me so strong that I was against him reading the books.
Yeah.
You remember that I was like, no, I don't want to read. And it was like I went through this uh arch, right, in order to get to where I am now. But it was like how vulnerable I was and how insecure I was, that to the point that I thought I was gonna lose him, when this situation actually put us closer, because after that we both decided to go do therapy, couple therapy and individual therapy, and it kind of like it opens our eyes to this new world that we can talk about anything, and we like it's okay to feel the way he feel, and it's okay to feel the way I feel, and get into disagreements, or how we're gonna navigate it, right?
Yeah.
And talk about it and try to make the relationship works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love how much you two have sort of like in exploring these different relationships and connections with other people, that to think that we're going to go in at any point and do it perfect is unrealistic, even after
As much as you want to.
as much as you want to,
Yeah.
right? And you could read every single book on polyamory that's ever been written, but you get into these situations and you don't know how you're necessarily going to react, and you don't know. I mean, the other thing you don't know is how is the other person going to react,
Yeah.
and I
Or people.
or other people, right? And so when you, like you said, like, well, we all came to this sort of relationship, the three of us, with all of our own traumas and all of our own stuff, and then we just sort of like mix it all up, and everybody, like, Josh is getting this triggered, I'm getting this triggered, the other guy's got this triggered, and those are situations where I feel like there's almost no book that can prepare you. Like, you have to live it, and like then come out on the other side or through it being like, okay, what isn't working? And I love that you're like, well, I now know that like I'm better at phone calls than texting. So, right, hopefully in the next iteration of this, like that's something we can tell people like, hey,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Jacob's more of the texter, I'm more of the in person. It's not
Yeah.
personal. Let me know, right? And we just,
Yeah.
we learn where the landmines are, and we can like
Mhm.
dance around them a little bit easier.
Yes.
Mhm. And I feel like it was very valuable, because I the reason, like, after we met this guy, like, I had this script of this short film that I started to write, but before we even had the experience, right?
You wrote
It
this so
was
funny.
yeah, so I wrote the story because the the world of polyamory really interested me, right? So I was writing a story about how, like, a polyamorous relationship would blossom.
Mhm.
So basically like a romantic story about polyamorous. And
Without going through it.
without going through it at that time when I started, um so as I started writing, I kind of hit a wall, and then we had this relationship. It happened, it blew up. And then once the waters calmed down and I became a normal person again, I started writing again. And then I started feeding a lot of the things, or like the things that I was feeling, into the film. And it got a lot better, because I'm like, yeah, this is something that I kind of want to portray. Because I also started to notice how in media and like movies and TV shows, it's still being portrayed as this fun thing that couples do. You know what I mean? I don't think there has been really good representation of polyamorous relationships in film and TV. So I really wanted to create something that kind of showed people that we're normal people who just fall in love with more than one person, and those type of relationships also can be successful just like any other. Because I feel like there's really a lot of misconceptions that even we had coming into these relationships, right? More often than not, like, even those past possible relationships that we could have had were stopped because of those misconceptions, believing that if we were to love somebody else, it would mean that there's something wrong with us. And it was always so conflicting, because it's like I always felt like it, like, I don't feel that there's something wrong with us, but I do feel this other thing for this person.
Mhm.
So something's not computing, right?
Yeah.
Because it was like you have all these beliefs set onto you so hard that it's kind of hard to really accept and go through with those feelings and actually experience them, which is, I think, why
Mhm.
this relationship really blew us up in a good way, because we definitely needed to break out of that. And I feel like we've grown so much since then from that. And after that, we've made some great connections with people, and we've sort of slowed down a little because we're also trying to make sure that each of us are like in a good place so that we can keep moving forward.
And
Um,
I want to say something that I still fantasize of me going back to that relationship with that person, because I feel like now that I'm like more mature and I have evolved, I'm like, I think this would work if not the way I am right now. But of course, we don't know where he stand,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like if right now there's more chances to work than before, and it's uh it's something that I just realized after, because I didn't fall hard like him, because I was more coming from anger. But then after going through these therapy sessions, I realized, oh my God, yes, I regret certain things, or I would have loved to have the chance to show him who I am, instead of me, that I put that wall and he couldn't see past that. But it was my fault too, right? So now that I'm here and I'm like, it's funny because the term polyamory only can work for me if I go back with him, right? So when I think about polyamory, I'm like, I don't think I'm able to love another person, only Jacob and this other partner. And I think it's more because maybe afraid of hurting someone or getting hurt, but I'm still learning, right? And it's kind of like, how do you call it?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call it double standard, but it's the fear, right? But it's the same fear that you would have if you were
Yeah,
like
definitely.
single. Would you
Maybe
not get into another relationship just because you're afraid of getting hurt or hurting somebody?
Y-
It's the same thing,
yeah.
you know?
I think it's more because I know that I love that person and my partner, and I'm like,
Well, that's something that.
yeah, I don't want to love someone else until I figure,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, but yeah, that's a big part of it.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say something else and I totally forgot.
Yeah, it's all good. Well, it kind of reminds me of something that Jacob, you had said earlier in this conversation was, looking back in those early connections, there's probably a lot of things you would have done different. And I think that I hear you saying that here as well, Josh. And I feel like that's, I don't know, so relatable that we go through these experiences where we learn, like they're hard, right? We get hurt, we hurt somebody else, and in that we learn a ton. And then I often come out the other side being like, okay, I want to redo. I want to redo
Yeah.
that with everything I've
Yeah.
learned. I want to do
Yeah.
it again. But like the shit we fuck up is where we learn. And it's so frustrating that like you can't have both at the same time. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
but then you can't necessarily do a redo, but you can
You can do it different the
navigate
next
other
time.
other
Yeah.
Yeah,
experiences.
just take what you
differently.
learned and
Yeah.
put it into another relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it works.
Yeah, I'm also just struck by the two of you, like your connection and how much you've navigated together. And I'm curious, kind of what are some things that have really kept the two of you together for 17 years?
Oh, the coffee. He brings for 17 years. He brings the coffee every morning to the bed to me. He woke up early every morning just to make coffee and bring the cup of coffee to and wake me up with a cup of coffee
Wow.
every single day. The only times he hasn't done it is when he's sick, and I'm like, oh my god, I have to do the coffee. And then
What
I'm
a-
like, I don't know how to do the coffee. I ended up waking him up. How do I put?
All right. So for one of you, it's coffee. How about
Yeah.
for you, Jacob?
I think the thing that has really made us last this long, it's like what I mentioned, it's the communication
Yeah.
and the fact that we allow each other to mess up and try to figure it out. I feel like without even knowing it, we had a really good grasp of what that repair is, because we were human, you know what I mean? And we also recognized that we met when we were 18, and we've
Yeah.
basically been together since then. At least on my end, I never had a partner before him. He's technically like my first boyfriend and now husband, but he had other female relationships, and he had like
One
one
that I
short-term relationship with a guy before me.
that I fall really, really
Yeah,
hard.
so I think he had a little bit more experiences with relationships, whereas I didn't. So I feel like going through all of this and coming back to the point that I like, hey, we've been together for a long time. It's bound to happen. It's okay. We're just humans. Let's figure this out. And we always had really, really good repair. Like
Yeah.
we always found a way to, even though it was uncomfortable, we always talked about it. We always figured out what our needs were, what was going on in the moment, and we just decided to stay. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's the most important thing, because we've never been intentionally like abusive, either emotionally,
Yeah.
much less physically. But I feel like because of that, it's like, you know what, we haven't reached that point. And even though he ran situations where we almost like got separated, we always sat down, we always talked about it, because we knew that we wanted to be with each other. Like that's something that's never been put into question. So the conversations, they're having those really hard conversations. I feel like it's what's made us stay for together for 17 years, just because we're not really afraid to go deep and to figure out how to make this work, right? Because we want to make it work.
And yeah, and accept when I'm wrong. It was hard for me to accept it in the beginning, but my pride has been non-existent with him. if I'm wrong, I accept it. And something that it's which I love about our relationship is like we always talk everything. Even if we can be really mad, we never get to the point that we start arguing like really like cursing each other loud. But during the daily life, we joke a lot and we're very playful. We kind of like, hey, and we say about word, come here,
Yeah,
we cheers like,
we kind of cuss each other out on the daily.
yeah, but it's like as a playful way. And
Maybe
it's
that helps
maybe-
lay off the steam. Maybe that helps to lay
and we
off
never
the
take it
steam.
personal because it's kind of like, the same way we treat each other. It's so funny because we can say, oh, I miss you, baby. And he said, I hate you, something like that. Right. Or, it's just, I think the dynamic
Yeah.
for us, we let it,
Yeah.
like you said.
Sounds like there's really good communication over time.
Mm.
Whether, you've always been able to talk about things.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then on top of it, there's a playfulness of
Yeah.
fun, like just playfulness to your relationship that is also bonding
Yeah.
Mhm.
and helps, I imagine, helps in the harder moments because
Yeah.
balance it out.
Yeah. I feel like that's it.
Plus the coffee.
It's always been a balance. Yeah. Because, like, it's always been a balance with us because we're like super opposites. Like, he's more outgoing, he's more boisterous, I'm more quiet. I don't share too much. So I feel like we're both balance each other pretty well. And we celebrate each other's differences for sure.
Yeah.
So I feel like
Yeah.
that's really helped
I'm
us.
very like, I like to smile. I'm very like, oh my, let's talk, like, and he's the opposite. He's kind of like the dark force. He's like, people think he's, like he's a fighter or something like that, but no, it's the opposite. And he's the sweetest guy, but I really love his seriousness. Like, I love how smart he is, it's kind of like he's an encyclopedia.
Encyclopedia.
For me, when I don't know anything, I ask him, and he knows everything.
I'm ChatGPT.
So, so I really love everything about him. Like he's so different. Like even when he get annoyed, I enjoy that.
Could be dangerous, right?
Yeah, very. He's gotten the hand burned a couple times. So.
Yeah. Well, it's, in hearing you talk about that, it just, what you kind of talked about, the way that you two explored your relationship from the beginning was, I think, in many ways messy, right? Like you weren't, when you got together, it wasn't like we are together and now other people are cut out. It was, it was that gray area. And then there was this other person. And then there was these ebbs and flows. And you kind of said like, well, maybe there was some cheating, but it sounded like most people don't just casually be like, oh yeah. And then there was like a little bit of cheating. It just seemed like for you two, we were just exploring being ourselves and that we knew we wanted to be together. And we were gonna figure out how, even though like life was just gonna keep coming at you.
Yeah, that's actually a great way to look at it. Yeah, it's definitely been messy
Yeah.
from start to finish. But I feel like that's where we thrive, because it pushes us. I feel like life has pushed us in a direction to like really get to know each other and to like know who we are as individuals. Because I feel like for a long time too, monogamish people, like people who practice monogamy, are romanticize love in this way of like, oh, if you're a couple, you're one person. So I feel like for a long time, that's what we were kind of like striving for, but it never felt like real. And once we had this relationship and all of that blew up, that was told to us that we were just like this one force. And it really stuck to me because it's like while I don't see necessarily anything wrong with that, because at the end of the day, we've been together for so long. Our lives are pretty much meshed in together. There's so many things that we're gonna be similar on. But that fact that put me to think, like, where was I? You know what I mean? Who was I in this relationship? And that's when we started to work together to find out who we were individually and aside from the relationship. Because I feel like we shouldn't be necessarily striving to be one person, but being two people in a relationship that are committed to work, which is how we've been together for 17 years. It's,
and we choose to be here.
we're definitely doing something right.
Mhm.
But yeah, we choose to be together. And I feel like that's the most important thing. When you know that somebody is there for you and that you can be yourself with that person,
That's gold.
That's gold, yeah. And no matter how messy life gets, you just go with the punches, I guess.
It's part of life. We're humans,
Yeah.
I feel like we're meant to make mistakes and learn from that. It's
But
up
yeah.
to us if we choose to stay with a person.
But I think
or
on
not.
that note, it also tells you how polyamory was so deep in us even back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
'Cause-
we even did a threesome with the guy, Omar, when we, with the person that I filed for, like
Oh,
in high school,
yeah.
that you used to be jealous about.
I guess. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I was jealous, but it never really bothered me because I ended up,
Yeah.
having a threesome with him. So I don't know. I really don't put that too much into question. That's the thing. Like, I feel like that kind of situation never really bothers me
Yeah.
because it never feels like it's taking anything away from me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's just I always see it as fun or something that we do as a couple.
Something it's fun that we do when we used to go out. Which we kind of like. We don't go out much.
It's so expensive for that.
Yeah.
In this
But
economy.
when we
Yeah,
used to
no.
go out, we kind of like play the game. Oh, I dare you to go and kiss that guy. And we used to do those games where we used to go out and and drink and get drunk. But a couple of times there was one guy that we were like really having fun, and he all of a sudden he was really into me, and I was like, he's my husband. He's with us, and he got so mad at me. I was like, wait, but.
Oh yeah.
And then we saw him with, doing things that you would like.
Yeah, that's something that I've noticed that a lot of people who are single or are monogamous practice polyamory, but they don't want to call it that. There is this weird sort of hypocrisy that's happening in that part of the world that I don't know if they're not willingly seeing it or they just don't want to call it that. And there's this sort of pushback and resentment, especially in the gay community, about. I mean, I know that open relationships are a little bit different from like polyamorous relationship, but there's this aversion to having more than one partner or to explore that alternative like relationship structures for a community that we're always out of the norm. You know what I mean? I feel like that's one of the things that we notice that the monogamy is so deeply ingrained in us that even though we're going away from what the norm is, like being in gay relationships, we don't even push it that far. Like we stay within the safe boundaries of that.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like it is a vulnerable thing to do, like to love more than one person. If you think it's vulnerable loving one and putting your soul out there for another, imagine doing it to multiple people. I feel like that may be something that really scares.
Yeah, and we have a relative, someone in our family that practiced polyamory, and when this person realized that we were having a third partner, this person got mad at us, stopped talking to us, and it was like, "But wait, you voice a lot that you have multiple partners sometimes. What's the point?" But I think it was more the part of
Oh, yeah.
someone really close to you.
Yeah,
I just don't want to say names.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's one of those things where like it's okay if I do it or the way that I do it is not that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I don't think there's an answer here, but it
Mhm.
comes to mind that if, for a lot of the people that you're kind of talking about, right? If you're pushing the norms, you're breaking outside of the norm and because you're gay, and now you're also breaking it over here. Like it's hard each time you break one of these social constructs to go out
Yeah.
and do it the way that feels better to you. It's
Mhm.
work, it's hard. And so to me, it's like when you start stacking them, you're like, okay, now I'm doing this and this and this. And that's harder than just one of them
Mhm.
Yeah.
by itself. So I don't know. That's kind of what comes to mind a little bit when
Yeah,
we
I
talk
think
about it.
yeah, I think the best thing for us to do is to recognize that what works for us doesn't work for other people.
Yeah.
And that's okay. We also need to be focused on figuring out what this relationship structure looks like to us and how we can make it work for us without worrying so much about what other people have in their head. Because everyone's going to have an opinion about X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
But I just love the fact that there are so many other people who practice polyamory, who are trying to do it the right way, and who are really trying to, well, not the right way, not that there's like one way, but ethically, I guess. And that there are these people putting out their stories and telling others like, hey, this is what went wrong. This is, a way that you could fix it. And this is a way that I found that works for me. Maybe it works for you. And that, I think it's incredibly valuable to listen to other people's experiences and to maybe also listen that some people might have not done it the best way, but they are slowly figuring that out for themselves.
Yeah.
And that they're still here.
Yeah.
When you mess it up, it doesn't mean it's the end. Nothing. Yeah. Well, I'd love to maybe give you a chance to talk about your film, because your
you
film,
mentioned it some.
Yeah, you mentioned it, and
I'd
your
love to
film
hear more.
is exactly this, right? It's another example. It's another opportunity for people to see a story of this. And so, tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, I decided to write a story about these three friends that, like, two of them are a couple, pretty much like us, and then a third person comes in. But I wanted to show it in a way that, there's the couple are pretty open. They're practicing like polyamory or exploring in that, trying to find themselves in the polyamory world, I guess. And how this person that comes in has feelings for both of them, but doesn't know exactly how to put it into words or how he would fit, right? So he's the one that's experiencing all this societal expectations, and how do I break free from all of this? How do I really tell them these things without ruining the friendship? And just things that happen normally in these kinds of things, but it's really breaking it free from those expectations and that fear, and how they all navigate that into a successful polyamorous relationship. And I wanted to showcase it into like a human side. I didn't want it to be about a threesome or sex or that kind of stuff. I wanted to show a romantic story about love, which I think would, now that so many people are fighting for visibility, I feel like now is a good time to also start showing visibility of polyamorous people, and show them in like a real light, not as experiences or playthings, just to really show that these are real people who have wonderful lives, have wonderful relationships. Lots of people who also have children with different partners, and navigate that really, really well, So I think this community definitely deserves to be seen, because there's so many incredible qualities about uh, people in the polyamory world. So yeah, that's my story that I'm shooting. Like, thankfully, we already did a crowdfunding campaign. We successfully funded some money. Now we're in the process of going to shoot it into Puerto Rico. We're still trying to raise some extra funds because obviously it's expensive.
Yeah.
Film is expensive, but we're going to be shooting in Puerto Rico, in my back home, just because I feel like it'll also be nice to sort of put that story where it was born, and yeah, Puerto Rico's beautiful. It's going to be set in this like cabin in the middle of the jungle, with like rivers, nature, and all that stuff. So it'll be a very beautiful movie about beautiful people and a beautiful relationship.
Love it.
What's the name?
Oh yeah, the name is Three of Swords. Sorry, it's Three of Swords. It's inspired because I don't know if people are aware of the meaning of that tarot card, but the Three of Swords is essentially a card that says that you will be going through like difficult times, emotionally wise. You're going to go through heartbreak, but you're going to be able to move past that. And then there's a cool symbolism between the three swords that are piercing the heart, which is yeah, I have it tattooed, but it's audio, so I'm not gonna be able to see. But it has three swords that are piercing the heart, one sword goes in, it's the words or the damage that somebody else did to you. Then there's another sword that's another person that does damage to you. And then the last sword is the one in the middle that kind of locks those in. So it's not until you really pull that last sword out that you put in yourself that you'll be able to heal those other two. So it's a good meaning of like, you really have to come to terms with yourself and to heal yourself so that you're able to then forgive and to like move on really from any pain or anything that happened. That's the only way to, take ownership of yourself so that you can really show up for other people. So I really found it interesting and made it into the title of the movie.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And I feel like it also has a funny meaning too. You can twist it, 3 of swords.
Oh yeah, 3 of swords, 3 people, kind of deal. There's a lot of play in that title.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, we're super excited for it.
And how can people support you if they want to?
So they can go to our website.
We'll put links in the show notes.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
3ofswords.com. I'll have all the information if they want to keep supporting it or just to even keep up with it. Because as soon as it's done, obviously I'll make it available once it starts doing its festival runs and all that. So yeah, they can follow us on Instagram and all that stuff. So yeah, I'll make sure to give all that info to you.
Awesome.
What's the Instagram? 3 of
Three
swords.
short films. Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be
3 of
in,
swords short film.
yeah, everything will be in the show notes so people can follow along.
Yes.
And maybe when it comes out, we bring the two of you back and we do a
Yes.
update
Oh yeah, that'd be
on-
amazing.
Yeah.
update on how the whole relationship exploration thing is going, because it's
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
That'll
seems
be
like
exciting.
if anything, if history is an indicator, it will just continue to be an adventure, and we're excited.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm sure it will, and it'll be a fun adventure.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, is there anything else before we let you go today that you wanted to get out into the world while you've got the microphone?
No. I mean, I feel like just an advice. I mean, if you're when you're in a relationship, remember you're choosing to be with that person and no one is perfect. And when you are with that person, remember there's their needs and your needs. So you guys have to find a balance, how to manage and how to be true to yourself while you're in a relationship instead of trying to change someone else.
Mhm.
Easy stuff to do. No
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
Love it.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. Thank you
Yeah.
both for
Any
for
other
coming on.
questions from you?
Yeah, no, we're like-
I mean, those will be for part 2.
Part 2. Right?
Great.
Love it. Well, enjoy the rest of your afternoon here. It's a Friday for all of us, but the listeners, it's only Wednesday. But so have a wonderful Friday afternoon. Have a wonderful weekend, and
Thank you.
we'll talk soon.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
And we're back. Thank you so much, Josh and Jacob, for reaching out, coming on, and sharing your story. We had so much fun talking with you, and we're so excited about your new film project as well. A quick reminder to anyone listening, go over to our website, click on the podcast show notes, and you can find links to all of Jacob and Josh's work.
And a quick reminder to Jacob and Josh that I am available for extra work, and I think I'd be great at it. I'll loiter around in the jungle behind the cabin or something. Yeah.
Yes.
Anyways, thank you as well from my side for coming on, for sharing your story, and for creating incredible art like this out in the world. So we're excited to share it. And one more time, thank you.
Yes, we also want to remind everyone listening about our upcoming retreat, May 1st to the 3rd, 2026. It is called Relationship Recess. You can buy your tickets and find out a lot more information over on our website, normalizingnonmonogamy.com. Click on the events tab. A quick reminder that this event is open to the public, so we would love to have you come join us outside Orlando, Florida next May.
Yep. And the last thing we'll tell you all is that we have another interview coming up next week. Surprise, surprise. We are talking to Elaine, a beautiful conversation. We talk a lot about threesomes.
We do.
It's probably our most threesome heavy episode
It is.
ever.
Probably.
Excellent. Well, we'll see you all next week for a lovely threesome with Elaine.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening.